Why, hello all, welcome back to another video. Now my voice is hushed because as I'm recording this, it is just about midnight and I am tired and I'm trying not to wake people up, so woo! I realized that I needed to get something out, so this is kind of a quick thrown together video. I'm really sorry that it's not new content, or it may not be content that you guys were expecting or wanting. I apologize, it's been hectic in real life right now just because of school and other stuff that has been going on. You guys know that I have decided to make yet another model for myself, which is a wonderful idea. But yeah, it's just been hectic, and I decided, hey, we're gonna try to make this interesting, and I'm gonna talk about something spooky that's happened to me, because, it's September. I know that that's technically not spooky season yet, but Costco is putting out their Christmas decorations. It is allowed to be spooky season, alright? We need to keep up with it. And I've never had any, paranormal experiences. I'm not sure that I believe in that. I don't really think I do. I've just never experienced any of it. But what I have had is a phenomenon called night terrors or sleep paralysis. Now, if any of you guys have heard of this, you might know what it is, but for those of you that haven't heard of it, it's basically the phenomenon where you will wake up in the middle of the night being unable to move, almost trapped in a dreamlike state, and you will see things. Sometimes some people will feel things, feel pressure put on them by things. I have felt pressure put on me by some things in some of my experiences. Some people will hear things, some people see and hear things. They can be very vivid, and they can be pretty scary at times because they feel so much more real than just a normal nightmare. I haven't done a ton of research on it just because I don't feel the need to, because from what I know about it, there's not really anything that you can do to make them go away or make them happen less frequently, as far as I know. If you guys do know something like that, then feel free to tell me down in the comments, or if you have a source around that, then please tell me. I do know I inherited them from my mom, though, so she also has some stories. So if you guys like this and want me to tell more stories, I'm probably going to tell all of my stories, but I might get some of my mom's. But anyways, let's get started. The first night terror that I remember having was when I was about 7 or 6, and when I told my mom about this night terror, it kind of freaked her out a little bit too, just because of the way I told it. I don't know, she just said it was the way I told it to her. But the way I remember it is I was in my bed, and my bed kind of faces, there's a gap between me and my closet and doors into my room. It's my bed faces the back wall of my room, if that makes sense. And since I was little, I had a bed on the ground, a very small bed on the ground. And I remember waking up, not being able to move, and seeing my closet door slowly creak open. It's like a sliding door, so it kind of just inched backwards ever so slowly. And I could see this little thing, at the time I couldn't tell what it was, slowly start coming out of the closet. I can't say that with straight face anymore. And it was this tiny humanoid creature. It was super small, with really spindly proportions, disproportionate bodies, just really elongated proportions or abstract proportions are a very much so common thread throughout my night terrors. I don't know if that's just something that tends to freak me out more, but it was these little tiny humanoid things with very spindly proportions, and they would move ever so slowly, inching towards my bed. There was about 4, as far as I know. I think I remember just about 4, and they would kind of position themselves around my room, and they would inch super slowly toward my bed, and when they got to it, they would put their little tiny hands on my mattress and slide them towards me. And when I looked directly at them, they would scurry away. They would just skitter away like little bugs. And then they would go back to somewhere around the room and start slowly creeping towards my bed again. And I don't remember how long it went on for. especially since time in dreams can seem a lot longer or a lot shorter than time in real life is actually going. But I remember waking up from it, and I went up crying, and I told my mom about it, and she was very freaked out about it, because the way that my little 5-year-old self told it was, Mom, there was these little things in my closet, and they crept out, and they creeping, slowly toward my bed. And when I looked at them, it scurried away. And my mom just said that really freaked her out, because it was like really late, and I had come upstairs crying, and I was just telling her this, and she was like, what are you talking about? The next one I remember happening, and this one is kind of a recurring dream, is again a very disproportionately like creepily disproportionate person. He was so tall that he had to bend his head and neck into the like corner of the ceiling, if that like makes sense, like to like fit in it. And he never moved or did anything, he just stared at me. And even though all of the sleep paralysis monsters I've had were silhouettes, there's something about this one that I could just like, I couldn't see his face. I don't even know if he had one, but I could tell he was staring at me. And I don't know if it was something instinctual or just something about it, but you know, I could tell. And both that and the little creatures are reasons why I have somewhat, I wonder if it's partly why I choose to only have a loft bed or a bed that is higher up than the ground now. I wonder if that's part of it. But the things staring at me, because I've had multiple, that, like I said, that was a recurring one, but I've had multiple experiences like that, was just something that bothered me a lot. I always had like nightmares, like not night terrors, but nightmares that someone would look at me through my window, or when I went through my phase of like watching or just like being fascinated with crime. I feel like every teenage girl that goes through that phase, I was really freaking out that some like serial killer was gonna stare through my window. And so I got blackout curtains, I like had a canopy, and like some of that still lives on today, and I guess that's just like somewhat paranoia. And my final story that I have is of, well, I suppose it's two stories, because these ones were always interconnected. The first one, which was less bad, was the one where it would be a bunch of silhouettes, again, just like shadows, of people standing around me, and they would all have a hand on me somewhere, like on my arms, on my shoulders, on like my stomach, and they were just pressing down on me. And you know, they never spoke, they never said anything. Some people have these paralysis creatures talk to them. I've never had any of mine talk to me, but they would just press down on me, which was fun, as one could imagine, because in scenario, like, I could never move during sleep paralysis, as paralysis would indicate, but when I was being held down, it was so much worse, infinitely worse, that I could not move. It just became so aware of it at the time. And then the only other time where I've felt something was this one creature that started being a recurring night terror for me once I got a loft bed. It would climb up my ladder, and its legs and arms were just all over the place and would bend disproportionately and would just, like, you know, do the like the horror movie trope of like just moving in every which impossible way. And that's how it would climb up my ladder. And when it finally got to me, it would just grab me around the neck and start to strangle me, which I couldn't feel the pain of being strangled, but I could feel the pressure around my neck. It was almost it was a weird way to feel it, because in my head I was like, I'm being strangled, I can't breathe, I'm gonna die. But like, I knew that it was just pressure I was feeling around my neck, and nothing was actually happening. I couldn't not breathe. I could breathe just fine. It was this weird sense of like, oh, I'm going to die, but I'm actually not going to. But, you know, I still had that fear in me. And, you know, at some point around these dreams, I would wake up, and I would be able to move, and I would look around my room and refuse to get out of my bed, but I also wanted to get out of my bed, because that's what all the creatures seemed to always converge on. But it was always just a very horrifying experience. And if you know anyone that gets night terrors and they ever tell you a story about one of them or are freaked out by one of them, just like, it's understandable. Like, even if it sounds like really stupid, a lot of night terrors don't always make sense, but they are so horrifying to the person experiencing them. So if you have someone come to you like, hey, I had this awful night terror last night, just maybe listen to them, because it was probably very, very scary and they're trying to vent to you. I know I've definitely done that with my mom, but we can't do it too much to each other because then we're gonna, influence each other's night terrors. Yay. Anyways, if any of you guys do get night terrors, tell me your stories in the comments, because I'd like to, just see what other people experience, see the different things other people experience. If you have any sources or know anything cool about night terrors, I'd love to hear that too. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my videos and supporting my content, especially these art videos. I love being able to share my art with the world. And if there's any questions that you have in the comments or any stories or experience that you'd like me to talk more about in the future, you are welcome to ask. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one, and I'm gonna go sleep now and hopefully try not to think about all the night terrors I just told you guys about. Anyways, goodbye!